Do you think that Afghanistan is becoming the hub of terror groups from all across the regions, or is it just specific to Afghanistan, the terror?
What I've seen from the latest UN Security Council Sanctions Monitoring report is an explicit confirmation of what Pakistan has documented for years. The de facto Afghan authorities provide a permissive environment for groups like the TTP, al-Qaeda, and others. What it highlights also is Taliban support. That includes training, logistics, and freedom of movement for the TTP, which has escalated attacks into Pakistan. So this is not just bilateral rhetoric, what I'm talking about here. It's multilateral evidence from the UN. And Pakistan's warnings were never an exaggeration. They were very prescient and now independently corroborated.
And talk about the nature of this relationship between divergent groups that initially had different kind of an ideological take on things, regrouping into Afghanistan. Is TTP becoming al-Qaeda? Is al-Qaeda becoming Islamic State, Khorasan? How are these groups engaging with each other, and what is the interlink?
Well, I think it's important here to talk about, again, the UN and what they have told us, the validation from the United Nations. The 37th UN Monitoring Team report, which was released just weeks ago, that what it does is leaves zero room for doubt. It describes the TTP as one of the largest terrorist groups in Afghanistan. They enjoy preferential treatment under the de facto authorities, with Taliban facilitation of training, movement, and operations. So what I want to say here is that this is not just hearsay. It's a consensus UN assessment from member state inputs. And I think that the consistent warnings that have come from Pakistan since 2021 are now documented fact and not narrative. And so what really people ought to know is that the report explicitly notes that the Taliban claims of no terrorist footprint, but those claims are not credible. And that is kind of really what we ought to focus on, is that lack of credibility there.
Where you're sitting, is this new cache of information, documentation, warnings, is it falling on receptive grounds? Is the penny about Afghanistan's new profile dropping in Washington, or Washington is too busy doing other things?
Well, look, from Washington's political lens, it is tough to I think, overstate what has changed here. Look, I think yes, Pakistan does look more like a frontline counter-terror partner again, and it's important to also focus on that because increasingly we need that. The United States needs that. I think Pakistan's sacrifices, again, thousands of lives lost, billions spent on counterterrorism, it remains unmatched. And with the UN validating TTP threats from Afghan soil, what Washington sees in Pakistan is not just a partner, but an essential frontline state containing a shared menace. Now, recent engagements also reflect this renewed focus on border security cooperation and recognition that Pakistan's stability is key to preventing wider radicalization. So we seek deeper, sustained collaboration, not transactional ties, but built on mutual interest in dismantling these networks.
Very quickly, in 30 seconds, if you could please, what is the right way forward? Should Pakistan continue to project its warnings? Should there be more detailed discussions around this topic of how Afghanistan is actually not just a bilateral issue, but actually a regional threat?
Well, look, if Afghanistan continues to deny the problem, it's again a moment in which we have to wonder what are the real options that Pakistan has left without escalating the situation. I think from my vantage point, Pakistan's toolkit remains calibrated. Enhanced border security, targeted operations against infiltrators, sustain diplomatic pressure, even through multilateral forums like the United Nations and the OIC, and economic leverage also, where possible. We avoid broad escalation because regional war serves no one's interest, least of all amid Afghanistan's fragility. But denial cannot continue indefinitely. The international community must step up with accountability mechanisms, things like sanctions enforcement, monitoring, and incentives for Kabul to act. So Pakistan will defend itself proportionately, I think, while urging collective responsibility. I believe that's the best path to take for Pakistan.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rina Shah, for your insightful thoughts.